are the girls? How are the dolls? How are the queens? How are the G.I. Joeses? I'm just gonna get right into it because this video is already unnecessarily long. My name is Yesterday, and today I'm doing a speed build of Animal Crossing New Horizons, specifically redecorating my island home's living room. I'm revamping my entire island. The goal is to have it fully decorated before the next Animal Crossing game comes out, whenever that may be. But yeah, full disclaimer, this is my first video game related content that I've put out, and recording footage from my Switch, doing voiceovers, editing all that together, it's a little rough, okay? So just have a little grace and patience with me. I started this video literally over 6 months ago. And then my game capture card just stopped working randomly, and I just stopped playing Animal Crossing for several months until I got it fixed and I could record again. So this video footage is cut up over 6 months ago and then very recently. I'm still getting used to the equipment, I'm still getting used to filming, I'm still getting used to not popping my peas. All those disclaimers out the way, let's finally just get into it. Yippee! Okay, and we're starting off with clearing out all my old stuff in my previous room, taking everything off the walls, clearing everything out of the way, just starting with a beautiful blank canvas. Yeah, the main reason I wanted to start over is because I didn't even really like it that much when I first built it. I'll insert some pictures since this is going super fast, but it's just really dark. There's no windows. It's just not what I wanted it to be. And I used to have this theme where every room has a nature flooring and wallpaper, and I still kind of incorporate that a little bit, but I was really stringent with that when I started, and I didn't have as many flooring and wallpaper options when I first made this room. Also, my furniture selection was not nearly as vast, and plus they added so much stuff when they did Happy Home Paradise, as far as furniture and decor, so it's a well-needed revamp. But here I am playing around with different floorings and wallpapers. I was really digging this sort of color blocked wood walls, which you'll see in a second what I end up settling with. But for a minute I was really I think I'll keep it with that. But I saw this and I still really like it. I ended up changing it a little bit, but this was so cute. I just really loved this sort of those pastels were really doing it for me, and the accent wall being the only wall that wasn't wood. Chef's kiss. Still very cute. I think I was also very subconsciously inspired by my outfit that I had on. I wanted to have that sort of green vibe of the original living room space, but just drastically different, obviously, with more color. And I wanted it to feel like a living room. I also didn't like that the previous room just didn't feel like a living room, I love when people have super conceptual rooms. I see a lot of space themes, a lot of foresty, fairy core nature themes. I love when people have a really high campy concept. I've seen some really cool ones, when they'll turn different rooms into they'll have what's it called, hide and go seeks, or just when they do really creative concepts. But for me, my island is very much, and my room and my home, it's very much representative of escapism into a little homey reality. So I always like the rooms to feel like the rooms that I'm making, but I love when people are super creative with it. That's just not what my end goal was, so yeah, the vibe here is very kitschy. If Angel had completely unlimited power to make a room, this is what we'd have, you know. But yeah, so now I'm doing this thing that I saw another Animal Crossing YouTuber do. They created this idea. I don't know if it's their original idea, but I'll link them or tag them somewhere on the screen, where they made this concept where when you're designing a room, you basically make like a little inspo board, almost like a room board inspo board, where you kind of just like throw all of the things you want to be in the room on the floor, like all of the items you want, just to get a vibe, just to get a feeling for it. And I really love this concept. If you struggle with like visualizing the space and just getting a feel for the vibe, I highly recommend doing this if you don't already. Like, just take every single item and throw it down on the floor. Like, don't worry about organizing it a certain way, just like put it down just so you can get a feel for what everything looks like. And that's what I did here, and it really helped me just like kind of map out what I want, especially like the color scheme, the textures, the different items, like to see how they like mend together, how they blend together. This helps a lot. And even though you'll see I changed this so much going forward, like so many things are going to change about the structural and aesthetic integrity of this room, but I feel like you still have the core, like the aesthetic vibes, like the core color scheme is still very consistent. And I'm very confident that it's because I did this sort of like room inspo board thing. I've been doing it with all my rooms when I decorate now, and I think I'll never go back, because it really helps you just like figure shit out. Yeah, but here I am. I literally, again, I filmed this section of the video like 6 months ago, so Lord knows what I was doing. It was just vibes. I think I was just kind of like organizing the space so that I could move around better, and possibly picking up things that I wanted to customize at Harv's Island. And I was also trying to turn off those freaking gyroids because the sound just pisses me off so bad. I spent an unnecessary amount of time doing that. I might clip this out, actually. It's so funny to see me moving around at like 8 times speed, because this is why, now we know why it takes me like 8 hours to complete a build, because I'm doing shit like this for God knows how long. But yeah, I was just trying to make the space walkable, pick up the things that I probably want to get customized, and yeah, just scoping it out, scoping the scenery out. I think also why it takes me so long is because I spend so much time just kind of like staring around at shit, just looking around, like you'll see it multiple times, especially later on when I really get into like organizing the room out. I spend so much time just like zooming around the camera, moving it around, just looking in circles, because I just want to see it from every single angle. I think this is just showing how weird my hyperfixation is when it comes to Animal Crossing decorating. Because literally, like, I promise you, later down the line in this recording, you're going to see me just like, this camera's just going to be spinning around and around and around. And yeah, so now I'm going over to Harv's Island. I'm only leaving this in because it's extremely funny to me that I did this, but I went to Harv's Island so ready to customize those items, and then they were straight up closed, and you could just see me like, oh, like, oh, oh, okay. And then I think at this point, this was when I was like, all right, I'm gonna just log off, like, I'm done, like there's no more I need to do. I go home and I just kind of sit with myself, and then I logged off, and then I didn't play for like 6+ months. I was like, all right, this is enough. Okay, here we are in the future with this insane time jump. So much time has passed that I quite literally have gotten a bleach job and completely changed my style aesthetic wise. But here's the future. This is what I recorded very recently. So I still have this sort of layout of all the items that I want in the room. I've added a couple more items that I found because I started playing a little bit before I got back into decorating, but I was just kind of like doing daily tasks and like buying things, going to shops and stuff like that. I didn't change much of the space aside from like adding items that I also wanted to be in the room, and I changed the wall layout a little bit. But yeah, this is when I got right back into decorating. So it's basically the same, but a little bit different. I still have this sort of like room board set up, and now I'm getting into like, how do I want to structure this? And I remember doing this, and I always do this. I start back decorating, and then I will just like change things multiple times, like things that I don't want to be changed, I'll flip-flop back and forth. But now we're getting back into it, so I'm picking up all my items, like, so I have a clean floor to start with. I think I had also did a couple of trips to Harv's Island to customize items, but now I'm just like clearing off the floor so I can actually start structuring, okay, where do I want my seating area, where do I want, you know, these different aspects of a living room. That's what we're getting into. And I remember just like when I got back into it, I was so like anxious, especially because I was filming. It took me like 3 days to figure out how to record this footage properly. And at the time I was also going to just do a voiceover while I was decorating, but I quickly learned that's not going to work because the real-time footage of this is like 8 hours. It'd be fine if I was streaming, but I feel like that would be an insane video to drop, like an 8-hour long with the most confused, frustrated, babbling voiceover of me trying to figure this out. But let me know if you'd be interested in like longer, in-depth, non-speed builds. Here I am. I'm just like customizing some items. I also went to Harv's Island and I got some wall partitions. I got the DIY for wall partitions and the pillars so that I could add those into the room. And here I am crafting and customizing those. And now I'm ready to get started. I'm laying everything out. I don't know why it's so exciting to like rewatch this, because I feel like I'm like, what am I even doing? And then I like see what I'm doing, and then I can like go back and recognize what my brain was thinking, and that's a really fun experience to have. These wall partitions were stressing me out. I was working so hard. I was working so hard to try and like make them feel nice or make them feel right, and they just felt bad to me. Like I couldn't make it work in my brain. And that was my first time working with them like in my own home, I think. And then even on Happy Home Paradise, I'd only used them like once or twice. I'm not very comfortable with them yet, but I wanted to attempt it. And I was so pissed when I found out that you literally can't put anything on the walls. Like, I'm so annoyed that you can't put items, like hang them on the partition walls, like, because they feel so naked. Especially because when I'm clearly a very what's the word when you like, I'm a maximalist, right? So I like a lot of shit everywhere. I like the walls to be packed with things, and it's so frustrating when you have this gigantic piece of wall sticking out and every other wall in the room is just covered with pictures and paintings and flowers and all that stuff, but this tall naked wall is just sticking out, like jutting out, and it's like so abrasive to the like the symmetry and flow of the room. I don't know why I did this actually. I accidentally went downstairs multiple times, as you could see, and I remember now. I was panicking so hard at this point. I was like, because originally, like I was saying earlier, I thought that I was going to be able to change the size of that upstairs room. And then when I found out I don't have that capability anymore, I was getting stressed. So I like ran downstairs and I was like, okay, what if I just like put the room downstairs because it's bigger? And I was like trying really hard to do that. I went downstairs and I was like, okay, well, let me just put the walls that I was working with. I was panicking so hard. I don't know why, but I I thought everything was ruined. Like, I'm remembering in real time, because it's just so funny to like look at this and see how stressed I was getting. Like, I was like, okay, what if I just bring everything downstairs? Like, the space isn't big enough. Like, you would think it was fucking life or death the way I stress out about decorating a room in this virtual game, bro. But yeah, no, there was a split moment where I'm like, okay, well, I'll just bring everything downstairs. And I hated it. I didn't like it. And then I had to like calm myself down and be like, no, it's fine. We'll do it upstairs. But it took me a minute. I tried for quite a bit to try and like organize things. And I did not like it. I especially didn't like the way the brick wall looked on the like big horizontal downstairs wall versus the square rooms upstairs. Like, I was looking at it like, why does this wallpaper look off? I went into my screenshots and I was like, why does it look so off? I was so confused by that. But I was like, at this point I was like really debating on what I was gonna do. And I was like, this is actually not this is not that serious. Like, I slapped some random wallpapers down there and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just go back to my original plan and calm down and try to make it work. And it did end up working, so I'm happy about that. But I was stressing. I think it was also because I was doing it in real time, so I was very aware of the audience that would be eventually like watching this. And I was like, oh my god, like, what if I don't make a good room and it's just ugly? Like, what do I even do with this footage after I've spent all this time, you know? No, I'm telling you, I stress about this game. Sometimes I stress about this game like I'm getting paid to. Like, this is a job. Like, I'm clocking in. This is what happens when you're unemployed, bro. Like, you get so, I would like, you would think I'm clocking in 8 hours at the Animal Crossing shift the way I'd be stressed out about this fucking game, bro. But I eventually calmed down. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just get into the flow of things. So here, this is kind of like how I wanted my chair, like TV sitting area to be set up. That big green rug was my favorite, and because it's so big, it kind of just became like the centerpiece of the room almost. Like, that's the main seating area. That's what that rug kind of represents in my brain. That's why I have the TV right there. That's where I put the main couches. And where you see the cinema roll couch at, that's where I have my sort of like off to the side, like mini, more cozy seating area next to the window. And I like it gets more like detailed in my brain, but that's what I'm trying to go for. Basically, this is where I start to see the end goal, like where I'm starting to structure that. So that's what I want. I want this sort of like centerpiece seating area where the TV's at, where there's more chairs. Okay, Bo, he wants to go out of the room. Let me just pause this for him. And we're back. I have this main sitting area, and then I have this one off to the side, and I'm trying to structure the space around so that I can easily access all of my sitting areas, because that's a big thing for me personally when I'm designing. I want all of the chairs to be as accessible as possible. Like, that's the main thing to me. I want you to be able to access every part of the room and be able to sit in every part of the room. It bothers me when I design something and I try to like make an area and everything isn't accessible. There are so many super cool builds that people do, especially when it comes to like when people get into the super realistic looking room designs. I love those. I love looking at them. They're super creative, and people just really push the confines of what they can do with Animal Crossing designing, especially with the limitations you have as far as like building and organizing things together. I love when people go crazy with it, and it's just like this super like just like when they do like the New York City studio apartment builds, like those types, or like the really like traditional looking cottage core rooms. Like when they do those, they look amazing, but it's a personal gripe of mine when I can't like sit in the chairs or like move around. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with not being able to do that. But for me personally and what I want to create, I love it when I can sit in all the chairs and access everything. And another thing that's annoying is like they added in the update that little side step, but basically in one of the last updates of the game, they added this sort of like sidestep thing where you could kind of like catty corner yourself into little corners to sit in things, and like if there's a small slim space, you could now access things that you couldn't access when it comes to like sitting in different spots and interacting with different items. And I love that and I appreciate that, but I'm anti sidestep because the villagers can't do the sidestep. So if one of my villagers comes to visit and something is accessible to me because they added that little sidestep feature, it's still not accessible to my villagers. And that's so annoying to me because like now I'm gonna be in the room by myself, like sidestepping around, and it's like, okay, that's cool, like for pictures for myself, but I want to be able to take nice pictures when my villagers come by, and there's gonna be things they still can't access. So I still try to avoid using the sidestep for like very slim areas to like scoot into. But yeah, that my main point is, when I'm making a space, I want all of the chairs to be accessible. I want to be able to sit everywhere in the room. Now we're at a point where I was getting a little bit more calm, and I was like, okay, wait, I kind of like where this is going. You can see me kind of like, well, you can't, but I can see myself kind of like relaxing into like getting into the groove of it again. Because I think at this point I had stopped trying to do like a voiceover, and I was just like, let me just decorate. Let me just get into the groove of things and we'll worry about what I'm saying later. Because I was like, the anxiety of like trying to like talk to an audience while I'm getting into my groove was just very stressful for me, and I didn't like it. This point is when I was really starting to get into it. I don't know why I wanted that big car in the living room. I know it's not realistic. I know it goes against literally how I described how I just wanted this to be a realistic home vibe, but I just love the way it looked in the space, especially when I added the brick wall back in. I think it just looks really cute. I didn't end up keeping it in there, but I really liked it. I like this like mini garage thing I had going on. But yeah, this is me. I'm like running around checking to make sure I can sit in all the sofas. This is what's really cool too, because also if you like force yourself to like, not saying anyone has to do this, obviously, like do whatever you want. If you want to use the side step, do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to make this space a little bit more accessible and you want to try and like push past that, like you get really creative. You kind of like push your ability to be creative a little bit, because I love these sofas because you can access them from the side. Like there are some chairs in Animal Crossing where you have to be facing right in front of the chair to sit in it, and there are other chairs where you can like side like you can access it from the side of the chair. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm realizing that these are things people might not notice, but if you design a lot specifically, you may notice. If not, hopefully this makes sense. Please feel free to ask me questions. You can also just do that. Just ask me a question. Yeah, like, okay. Now we're at a point where I was getting real excited. Like I could see this space start to come to life. I was loving it. I was loving the vibes, and it stopped being like stress panic. Why was it ever stress panic? But it stopped being stress panic, and I was like, okay, wait, this is fun. This is about to eat. I was excited. But yeah, that brick wall, really, I do still love the color. Like sometimes I'll change things, and it's not because I stopped liking what I previously had, but because I just, I want to play around with it a little bit more. But yeah, I was straight up loving the brick wall with the pastels. I feel like it made the brown furniture feel like I feel like the brown wall really meld together the pastels with my sort of like darker color aesthetic with the dark wood furniture. And the brick. It like really makes the 2 points meet together in a very pretty way, and I just love the way it looks. But yeah, this is me just playing around with my different items, and then you see I'll stop and check to make sure I can reach everything. I was so annoyed that I couldn't put anything on top of the car. I would have loved that to like, I just love when things look very like cluttered and messy. Like, and two, let me make it clear. Earlier I was saying like, it's not my zhuzh to make super like intensely like realistically decorated rooms. I do like incorporating realism, and I do like clutter. I just want to be able to sit everywhere. Like I don't want it to come off like, because you're gonna be like, yesterday literally this room is packed jam full with as many items as possible. What are you talking about? It's not that I don't like tons of items, it's just like I'm very particular about how I want to be able to access the tons of items, you know? But yeah, I really loved the stacked books. Like, you can see how they just, like, I love when the stacked items. Also, I was doing a bunch of time traveling because I would keep thinking about things I wanted to add and order, and then I'd order them and I'd time travel because I didn't feel like waiting. But yeah, I debated about this for a while, but I ended up switching out the cinema roll couch. Like, even though I wanted it to be super kitschy, it was just a little too, like, it didn't match in the way I wanted it to. And I went to Harv's Island a couple of times too to order furniture items specifically from there, and that's where I found that Moroccan couch, and it's so cute. When I remember seeing that and like squealing because it is so freaking cute. I feel like it's perfect for this sort of like cozy tea corner. This kind of became like a crafting tea corner almost, where I have the blue and white Moroccan couch and the little round pillows. Like, that's why it's a little bit smaller and closed off. Like, it became a sort of like calm seating area for like almost like a breakfast nook kind of vibes. And I think it ended up nice. But yeah, and you can tell I was really into it because I was experimenting again. I brought out that wood, I brought out that partition wall. I was like, let me see if I can work this in. Because I was excited again. I was feeling myself at this point. I was in my groove. I was like, oh yeah, this is eating. We're eating. I was like, this is revolutionary content. I'm giving the girls what they want with this one. Like, we're about to eat the fuck down. I was feeling myself at this point. But yeah, I was playing around with the partition walls and the partition, like, I forgot what those little standy stick pole things are, but oh, the pillars. I was playing around with those again. I wanted to see if I could make that work. And yeah, I you'll kind of get the vibe for my design style. It's like matchy but not. In a few minutes you're gonna see me try and okay, there's a small there's a section of time where I was decorating a little bit and then I just kind of like dropped off. Like, I just got off I didn't record it because it was just like late at night. I was sleepy, I was tired, and I just didn't feel like recording. Like, setting everything up was gonna take me out of the vibe to record. So I'm sorry. There's a tiny chunk of section where I was like tweaking and playing around with things that you don't get to see. I don't think it's that much, but it may seem like a lot. But that's what's going on here. All right, and we're back. This is all the changes I made when I was like decorating but not recording. I ended up getting rid of the car. I guess it is a lot more than I realized. But I ended up getting rid of the car. I swapped the wall so that my accent wall ended up being the brown brick wall. And I added that little partition wall, and I found a way to work it in. And I got rid of the car, unfortunately, because it was just like taking up too much space, and there was no way for me to have it right there and not access all the chairs space, sort of, you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, this is where we're at now. I'm just kind of getting into like this is where I'm kind of I've got the foundational, where is everything gonna go down, and this is when I just get into like playing around with different items. there are like I went back and forth between Harv's Island so many times, just customizing items. I went back and forth to Happy Home Paradise, ordering items from the catalog that I had over there, and just so much fine tuning and adding tiny details. This is like my favorite part, and it's also the most frustrating part because I start to look at things too long and add unnecessary changes, and I'm just like tweaking things that no one else is paying attention to. So I don't recommend doing this or getting too hyper fixated on this, because it's fun at first for me, and then after a little bit I start like getting too hyper fixated, and then I'll start to like change things that I do like and confidently don't want to change. But I do end up with some really fun stuff. I ended up even getting in this extra little mini area over here in the top right corner where the baseball mitt chair is. It's kind of like a work, like there's a workstation where it's like the phone, the bulletin board, like it's in the little you get what I'm trying to say, but hopefully you do. If you don't, whatever. But yeah, and you can even see the little like tea cozy mini sitting area on the side has become more fleshed out. I've added plants and books and crafting stuff to like kind of like represent my interests and stuff that I like. So it's like kind of like a very comfy, cozy area. And yeah, this is the vibe. I really like it. I really like it. Again, this is me like running around making sure you can access all the chairs without having to sidestep. Yeah. And I ended up customizing that TV to turquoise, and I hated it, and I immediately went back. I had to go back to Harv's Island. A lot of the cuts you see is just me going to Harv's Island to customize things or order things, and that's what I'm doing basically. Yeah, and this is super. Oh, another area that I ended up adding was that sort of like little, I think I mentioned it already, the hallway right there. I love how that turned out. It's kind of like a coat closet vibe, and I like that it's right at the front of the room. So like when you come in, it's like where you can put your keys, your bag, and I end up adding a little coat rack over there too. You'll see it in a few minutes probably, but I just loved how that turned out, and that's why I had the little shopping bag right there. That area turned out a lot nicer than I expected. And then there's like the little that heater thingy at the bottom. That's where I put the picture of my husband, Brewster. That area is just kind of like dedicated to him, because that's my man, you know. I had to have a picture of my husband there. Yeah, and then that's me kind of like getting into decorating the walls and putting things up there. I did a lot of trying to order stuff for the walls because I had tons of stuff, like wall-based decorating items, and I was like, what happened to all my wall-based decorating items? It's because I used them all in my when I designed my upstairs bedroom. This was an accident. Don't pay attention to this. That stressed me out so bad when I did that. But here's me trying to squeeze in a couple more like rugs, and this is what I'm saying. I know this style is not for everybody, but I am a maximalist to my core, man. Like if I can jam pack an item into the room, I'm gonna do it. Like I just like it to be covered. I like everything to be covered. Even here, this is when I thought I was done. I was getting close to being done, and I wasn't. I was still finding stuff to put on the walls. And I'm super picky about the wall decor as well. Yeah. And there's gonna be a couple more spots in the future where I think I'm done, you think I'm done, but then I'm gonna pop back up and it's gonna be slightly different. Like there's still a little bit of like tweaking and fine tuning that I didn't record. And then I tried to I just really like the way the wall beam supports, whatever. I like the way they look when they're just kind of like off to the corner, like especially because you get to bring in more of the multicolor browns. I feel like it just looks really cute. But yeah, I spent a crazy amount of time trying to figure out what I was gonna put on different like low tables and the different table spaces that I have. I get very particular about that because I hate how like formulaic it can look when it's just two things next to each other, two things next to each other. Like I don't know how to describe the weird way my brain is working, but I'm very particular about how things look when they're sitting on the table spaces. But I that was probably the thing that took me literally the longest. But yeah, here I am ordering a couple more items that I want. Why did I just stop here? What's going on? I'll just wait till I see stuff again. Just ordering more stuff. Again, most of the stuff I was trying to order was wall decor because I'm just super duper. I love tons of it. It's just my favorite thing. I like when the walls. That's probably why it's so frustrating to me when you can't hang things on the partition walls, because I'm like, it just feels so naked. But yeah, just playing around. And it's okay. You're probably gonna see things and you're gonna be like, oh girl, why did you add that? You know it doesn't match. That's what makes it kitschy, okay? I started to like slowly, I always try to creep in some pink because pink's my favorite color. I was like, what if I added some like pink accents? That's why you've got the cherry lamp. It started with the cherry lamp and then I just couldn't help myself. I kept adding more. The wall clock, the happy birthday setting. Like they're probably going to be someone who looks at that and be like, girl, take that down. Why did you put that there? I need it, okay? I just need it. I need that fun little quirky pop of pink, okay? Just let me do my thing, please, okay? I know it doesn't match. Trust me, I know. That's just this. I'm just like this. Just let me do me, all right? But yeah, this is me paranoidly checking to see if I can sit in all the chairs. I think there's been a little bit of jumping time. Now I'm just kind of like looking to see if there's anything else I want to add. I check like 50,000 times when I do this. Like I'm just checking every single last minute thing to see if I can like squeeze anything else in, like make it accessible. I'm crafting things, customizing the colors and stuff like that. I get very nitpicky about things like this, but I think it's worth it. I think I end up loving what I make. And a lot of times it's just for me. Like other people aren't going to notice it, and that's okay. Like it's just nice for me to do this. Do not like, I'm just trying to emphasize, you don't have to like, I do this because I love it. I love being super nitpicky. But if you aren't, don't adopt that and feel like you have to do that to make a nice looking space. You don't. I'm just crazy, okay? All right? Okay. Yeah, but I'm literally just checking for anything that I can make and add just because it looks cute. Y'all, that orange clock that I just crafted, that shit bangs. That's another amazing thing about Animal Crossing. If you really I got really into like collecting DIYs that I didn't have and like trading for them online. There are so many hidden gems in like the DIY crafting section of the game. Like I and then there are tons of like I always recommend like go through the DIYs that you have and check to see if you can customize them and make them different colors, because sometimes those different colorways will be blowing your mind. That orange wall clock, never paid attention to it before and never used it before, but I was like, dang, that thing's cute. I made it, and then I looked at the customizations. It had like a blood orange colorway that I was so obsessed. Like I saw that, I was like, oh bitch, this is gaggy. Like I'm gonna gag the girls with this blood orange clock. Like they chewed with that. But I ended up keeping it orange because I was like, I need to save that for a new room. I'm going to put that in the kitchen because, you guys haven't seen the kitchen yet. That's going to be my next build, more than likely. Next or the second to next. But I have a very clear idea of what my kitchen looks like. I already have my little, like, my little room board and inspo board done in the kitchen, and it's cute. It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears kitchenette vibe, so I'm so ready to do that. But I saved that little blood orange clock for the kitchen. I'm so excited about that. Like there are random items that will just have me geeked. Like I'm just like, that clock had me geeked. Like I'm let's lock in and back on what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm just playing around with the wall decor. I'm time traveling because I ordered a bunch of shit probably, but then I just forgot to cut it out. But now we're starting to near the end. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Just reminiscing on how much fun this was to make and how I got into it was so fun. But yeah, just it's like, make sure you're having fun, okay guys? I sound like someone's mom. I don't care. This was me checking the shops to see if there's anything I could like that I could buy or something, you know. I was probably also possibly getting customization packets too. Yeah, but I'm going back up to my house, and where am I going? What am I doing? Harvest Island. Why didn't I cut this out? Yo, I'm a trip. Like, I just didn't cut this out for some reason. That's fine. Okay, I'm just customizing all of the last minute wall stuff that I bought. Yeah, also check the customization. Even if it's not even something you like feel that passionate about. There have been so many things that I just didn't feel passionate about, and then I check the customizations and it's just like the perfect colorway or this really cute like switch up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I do that so often. So I always recommend people just like check and triple check and double check the customization options for items if you're like feeling super limited for what you have, you know. And of course, I come from a very privileged place of having the DLC, and also I spent a lot of time with online services, so I could like trade and get stuff online all the time, you know. So of course that's like, you know, take that with a grain of salt, but yeah. So yeah, I'm just playing around with, this is where I was getting a little too picky and weird about stuff, but it's okay. I find my way. And I had that picture of Axel up. That was like one of my first villagers. That's one of the only villagers that has given me their picture. Guys, I'm so bad with like making friends with my villagers. I never do it because I'm like a hermit in my house doing this for hours on hours on end. So I'm not talking to anybody. So I don't have a lot of my villagers' pictures. So I like really cherish the two that I do have. But yeah, this is when I thought I was done. I still wasn't done. I ended up changing some very tiny things, but this is like, I'm almost entirely done. So I'm like adding the sort of like, this is another, if you haven't seen this before, you don't have it. This comes from Happy Home Paradise, the DLC. Like this is a design tool that you get in the game that you can bring back to your island, where you can kind of add these sort of like animations of different things to your items. It's really cute. It's really nice. I'm very picky about it. I don't like most of them. Like, I feel like sometimes it makes the space too busy. Listen, I know how fucking batshit crazy I sound with the space like this being like, oh, it's too busy. Like, I don't know. It adds a level of like intensity. Like, I think it's just a little bit overstimulating for my brain when it has all of these like moving parts. Like the little animations kind of get on my nerves a bit, just a tiny bit, but I'm embracing them a little bit more than when I first saw them. Like when I first saw the little like animation things that it adds, I was like, I'm not fucking with this. But yeah, that's really it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, I'm amazed. You are a certified yapper enjoyer. But thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.